Ben, I was just saying to you that everyone, all the internet artists, we are all communists because we have already seized the means of production.
That's fascinating.
What production means have you seized in your day as an artist?
You were saying all the assets, all like the software that we use, Manga Studio, Photoshop, Sony Vegas, whatever. We all just pirate it.
Yeah.
It's all mostly just free.
It's not even a secret at all. There are plenty of artists who have said outright, including us, yes, I pirated all my software, here's where you can get it.
It's just expected.
I would argue that is basically part of the business model now.
Photoshop
would not be
to internet.
as ubiquitous as it is.
Sure.
It was not.
I mean, Adobe definitely, they're the only people who really kind of rebuilt their business model to account for it. They kind of looked at it like enough people use Photoshop that can afford $10 a month that we can actually get those people to pay for it. I did it. I paid for it for a long time. I've got a pirated one currently.
Amazing.
I stopped throwing my money away like a fucking fool, but it just, it felt kind of good to live in the light for a little while. But
it's just a scumbag company
Stupid.
now, and I wouldn't give them a dime.
Fuck them.
I mean, consider the iPhone. Everyone always says, you criticize capitalism, and yet you exist. 100 million dead, Venezuela, iPhone, right? Yeah. Because capitalism created the iPhone. But as a matter of fact, all the underlying technology that the iPhone is built out of was all created through publicly funded research. Apple just combined it into a product and then marketed the hell out of the product, and that's why it made a shit ton of money. So I think in that same vein, stuff like drawing shit in Photoshop on the internet, it's the natural state of things is to be created and then freely available to be used, and capitalism is a perversion of that. And I think what we're seeing when you say that about the internet, that it's largely communist, true, because it has thus far to some extent evaded that wicked commodification process, just by how slippery
themselves of production.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, it does kind of raise the question, I mean, obviously Adobe needs to make money in order for them to operate and continue to update the service.
Yeah.
But all of these services, they're just they are much too expensive for the average person to use, and yet necessary to even very simple art for one person to do. It's just made so much easier by these products. They make them expensive because the expectation is that they'll be bought by studios, and it's
colleges and whatever.
I have myself the power to do the work of a whole studio so long as I have this program,
Sure.
So Tom, what are your favorite means? You tend to actually go out of your way to try to use just stuff that is free.
Yeah, I kind of am big into free and open source stuff. All of my 3D stuff is all done with just free tools.
Right.
And it's I don't know, it just seems like the more ethical way to do things, you know, because
well, it's people who actually have the interest in allowing you to be able to create. People who have the mindset of this should be available to everybody because it will be a benefit to mankind. It's people tend to think of capitalism as inherently selfish, but I do think that there is a element of capitalism that recognizes that giving some things away will pay you back in the long run.
Right.
That everyone will make more money if everyone has access to this resource. So it will benefit me long term that more people will have the ability to even give me money because they'll have money.
I think even from a raw transactional standpoint, you could make the case that for certain markets and certain conditions, if you are targeting an audience like artists that don't have a lot of disposable income, and you have a tool that is X dollars, you're going to have a lot of people who don't even bother trying out the product, and you'll never get a sale.
Exactly.
But if you're doing something like Krita does, which is a Photoshop alternative that's free and open source, they just basically run, they have community donations.
Right.
So anybody can use it for free, and so the people who wouldn't otherwise pay for it can try it, and if they like it, then you can get money that way.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's the exact same business model we do. It's like making access available to everybody. And that kind of puts you in a positive position, like a better bargaining position for money. Because it's like, I've already given you the thing. You've already used the thing.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, feeling like you're holding them at gunpoint, like, I demand something for this thing.
Right. Well, it's harder to...
It gives you the high ground, as our man Obi-Wan would say.
It's funny you say that, but the reality is it only gives us the high ground as artists because we can't convince someone to buy our thing just because they need it. You know, like if I was selling something regular, then I don't need to let them use it first to then get it. They need it, you know. They're going to buy it anyways because if it's toilet paper or whatever. But like what we are selling is something that like it's really hard to know if you're going to like a piece of art until you've consumed it. Like, it's always a huge gamble. Like, you know, people tell you constantly, don't judge a book by its cover. And it's like, well, if I can't judge it by its cover, then that means I'm always just making a fucking roll of the dice when I buy a book that I haven't fucking read.
I think that's why free has become the default model online. Just because there's so much content at that point. Yeah. And, like, the basic, like, 101 of marketing and, like, trying to get a business off the ground is, like, you look at the market and you identify a need or desire, but like art is inherently kind of a selfish thing because you're doing something you want to make, so you're not identifying a market at all to begin with.
And the thing is, like, what pisses me off about like a lot of the old media markets and stuff, like when anime started getting pirated en masse, then the anime companies, there were certain companies that were like really accusatory of like, you know, piracy is evil, you're evil for pirating, like how dare you, this is stealing, you know, and like that's very much, and still the mentality of a lot of the people who work in the industry. And the reality is that the product you were offering was always bad. Like, this was always a negative of your product that we couldn't judge it before we buy. I used to buy DVDs. I had to sell a lot of them off for much less than I bought them for because they sucked. And I didn't want them, and I didn't want to carry them around. It was regretful purchase, money I wish I had back, that was spent just trying to find shows to watch. It used to be that the first DVD of a show was $30 at Suncoast, and that's where you could get it from, you know? So it's like, that's, you know, now I can literally just watch anything and then find something I like and spend $30 on it. You know?
I mean, I can understand being resistant to that because it puts much more pressure on you as a creator, you know, because before you kind of could rely on smoke and mirrors and be like, well, they have to make the purchase, and so I come out good regardless of whether they like it or not. But now it's like, well, you have to make something that actually has value.
Mm-hmm.
What good does it do? What good does it do to say it takes something like piracy or any issue and be like, oh, that's this broad systemic thing that is like, you know, just a part of reality. It's happening whether we like it or not. And be like, oh, that's happening because people are bad. People are bad and evil, and they're pirates, and piracy's wrong, and they need to just get better. No.
Anytime anybody has that mentality, it's like, well, you know, how do you, like, that they're not going to stop doing what they're doing, so how do you work with that, you know, like,
it's pointless.
They obviously disagree.
It's pointless to moralize about it, because at the end of the day, that doesn't fix the issue, mind. And it also doesn't increase your profits, so it doesn't help anyone.
But I was thinking about how there's are you familiar with the idea of libertarian socialism?
Sure.
And I know that Oscar Wilde wrote a thing about it. I haven't read it yet. I just read the synopsis. But I was like, yeah, this is pretty much what I think UBI like would have been, is essentially a form of that, where have you heard of, there's this book, well, essay, I guess, called Homesteading the Noosphere, on which Log Horizon was largely inspired and based. And it's written by a guy who's a big-time libertarian dude. But his idea for, like, how to make coders, like, do great work, because he worked with, you know, people who worked in code. Mm-hmm. And he said, like, you just need to take care of their basic needs and let them do whatever they want. You know, because they're going to come up with stuff that you can't predict, and they're going to be they're going to just have the open space to, you know, just create and do whatever comes to mind, which is, you know, essentially the way that we've been able to live our lives thanks to Patreon, is people essentially taking care of our basic needs and pretty much letting us do whatever the fuck we want. Like, everybody in the PCP has been somebody who has done like the minimum amount of capitulating to our fans that we feel we can get away with.
Yeah.
I guess, which is a different amount for each of us. I think Ben does the least capitulation to anyone.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Thank you. I agree.
Other than Munchie, I guess, but he doesn't make money.
Yeah.
He can make money.
He probably could.
Does commissions.
He could if he put his mind to it.
He just doesn't care.
No.
So I guess he capitulates even less, but
all right, I'll take it.
You get a firm second place. But nonetheless, like that's why all of us are able to come up with these great ideas we're passionate about. And I look at what universal basic income was supposed to be as basically that, like just enough money to take care of the most basic stuff, and then you can fucking have more freedom to make decisions about what you want to do. Sure.
That's fine. I think it would be better if instead of just giving you money to pay for all that stuff, you just didn't have to pay for all that stuff.
Yeah, no money at all?
Well, no, we could still have money, but like basic necessities like food, housing, healthcare, running water, electricity, internet access. It would be better if you just got those things. If those things were like you said, just provide for people's needs and then let them do other stuff.
How much internet access do I get?
All of it?
How much is there? How much can the government afford to give to everybody?
What do you mean? Like, it doesn't cost you more to
It does.
give
You have to
more
lay down
internet
better.
access.
You have to lay down FiOS all over America, which the currently they are not willing to do. The corporations.
Here's what I'm saying. Okay. We can
want
argue
to
about the
provide
specifics.
if you want let me just say, if you want the best possible internet to all houses in America, we would need FiOS going to every house.
I mean, obviously that's the ideal. Okay, we can argue about the specifics. If internet to everyone is too much, fair enough. But like each individual one of those things that you could guarantee to people, right, would be another like thing checked off the list that those people do not have to waste their lives in wage slavery in order to pursue at the expense of their free leisure time, which they might have been using to be creative, come up with cool shit, make art, do science, whatever.
Do you think that everybody should be provided
Decommodification. It's all about it.
Do you think that everybody could be provided a baseline, but that if you had more money, you could buy into a better version?
I mean, if things are commodified, then UBI or something like that is good. Like it's like if stuff's gonna be commodified, then yeah, it's better to guarantee that people can pay for it than not.
Right.
I don't think it's as good because, prices are malleable. Prices can change. Prices could rise in response to it, and then you might have to tweak it more later. And it's like, oh, you could still have problems. It's simpler and I think just a better solution to just say, well, those things that people need, right? You shouldn't have those things. Shouldn't be a market.
Right.
Like to whatever extent it is possible to do so, those things should just be guaranteed to everyone.
So are you telling me that I have to deal with having worse internet because they can't afford to give FiOS to everybody?
Well, no. I mean, you could, if we can't afford to give everyone FiOS, then there could be private FiOS providers until such time as universal FiOS is achievable. Okay. And then that industry can die because we don't need it anymore.
So the government will only provide that which it can provide at the highest possible quality.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Medicare is going to be really amazing. Like, it's going to be way better than private healthcare has any possibility of being.
No, I'm saying that to whatever extent we can provide it universally,
but
FiOS is good.
But FiOS won't be included in that because you'd rather have it than not?
No. If we can give everyone FiOS, we should. But we can't, then okay, we'll do what we can.
If we can give everybody
until such time as we can get everyone FiOS.
So are you saying that if we can't give everyone the best possible health care, then we shouldn't do that until we can?
No, then we should give people whatever amount of health care we can give everyone.
Well, then what if I want more?
Then you can buy more.
Well, then it's still commodified, just like the FiOS.
Well, Yeah, all I'm saying is, look, this is the assumption. The assumption here is we cannot fully commodify X. Or no, we cannot fully decommodify X. To which I say, okay, if we can't fully decommodify it, it's probably better to decommodify to whatever extent we can, and further decommodify it in the future as it becomes possible.
What can we decommodify now? What do you think?
That's a great question.
What
I don't
know.
We could probably decommodify healthcare right now.
What is something that we could provide to everyone at a level where nobody would want more than what they got?
Food, probably.
Everybody has their own preferences on what like an acceptable level of something
we
is.
Probably we couldn't provide.
That's exactly why communism never works.
We couldn't provide.
So it's exactly that.
We couldn't provide everyone all the food, any kind of food they wanted at any time. We could provide everyone with a basic amount. No, like there can still be a market for like luxury goods or specialty goods or
you're making the wrong argument.
What argument am I even? What are we even talking about?
The argument you should be making is we just got to deal with it. Yeah, you're just gonna have to put up with having worse internet for now because we have to decommodify it. Because
it's just
the best we can do, man. You're just gonna have to give up your FiOS. Is FiOS really worth starving children? That's the argument you have to make.
If I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, say we could provide universal health care for like everything except dental. I'm not going to sit here and be like, okay, well, everyone gets healthcare, but dental insurance is illegal. No, like if we can't like publicly fund something, then it only makes sense to leave it up to the private option. And that's what like Medicare for All does. It's like, it decommodifies most forms of insurance. There are still like certain things that would not be covered by the public option that would still be like coverable by a private firm.
What would be like the cutoff point?
I don't just like any
chiropractic.
I think just anything that the public plan doesn't cover.
I have to sit down with Bernie and grill him through it.
I would love to. When I go to visit him after the election to receive my mission, I'll ask him like, by the way, can you explain to me what was up with that?
What is this like weird shawl you're wearing? It's very much like a pilgrimage kind of outfit. You look like a Bloodborne.
Yeah, I'm a mendicant. Yeah, no, I'm ready.
What would you describe this garb as?
Well, it's like a sweater poncho, but with like a hood, and it's loose knit. Like I can see through this. I don't even need my eyes.
Now you really are an assassin.
You should just stay that way if you can see like that.
Okay, like this.
Nobody can see your face at all.
Okay, I'm pulling my hood.
Nor can the audience.
For the viewer, I'm pulling my hood down over my eyes, so only my lower face is visible. When I pull it down taut, the weave is loose enough. I can fully see perfectly well. If I let it kind of go slack, it's like 50-50. My vision. I don't.
Needs 100%.
I would be bumping into stuff.
Yeah, you don't drive.
Yeah,
it's way cooler.
When I was at A&E, I wore I got to wear Kazi's dragon. Colby Jack. The visibility on that thing is a nightmare. You are completely blind. You're completely blind walking around.
Decommodify your vision.
You have to turn your head and like look out the side.
Anybody who like when you think about furries or cosplayers, like you truly need to like appreciate the sheer passion it takes.
They suffer for their craft.
It's amazing. I would not put myself like. Look at me. I am a man dedicated to comfort. Describe what I'm wearing, Tom. Tell the audience.
A fucking dope, loose-fitting robe.
It's a bathrobe, pajama pants, and an anime T-shirt.
A very comfy T-shirt.
Yeah.
And an unkempt beard and hair that hasn't been cut properly in a long time. You just let it all hang long and loose.
And I can't even imagine going to the effort of putting myself in a fursuit for a fucking convention. A place where it's difficult to navigate normally. Like, now, granted, I'm the type of person who, when I'm at a con, I fly from place to place. Like, I have shit to do. I'm running across the halls. I cannot imagine being slowed down by some big, bulky fucking...
I was not able to fit into suit. Colby Jack, but I could put on the head and the hands, and it was great fun. I would like stand in the mirror and I would like pose, and I would imagine like, okay, if this was a JRPG, what would my like neutral like battle stance be? What would my like kind of bouncing like motion look like? What would Colby Jack's attack animation be like? An uppercut or like a side swipe? What would he say? He'd go, pow pow.
Shit on my dick.
That one's a keeper.
I've been thinking about a Phantom Horn RPG in which he would fight with a katana, and he would, because he's a nerd and he's studied the blade, and I was thinking like in each of his attacks he would yell out man the katana, like the kendo girl or the kendo guy.
All kendo.
No, the girl in
That's just what they say in kendo.
It is, yeah, but in particular the one in not Gurren Lagann.
Ranma?
No, the other Gurren Lagann.
The other Gurren Lagann.
The other Gurren Lagann.
Dybus?
No, after Gurren Lagann, the red girl, Scissors.
Kill la Kill.
Kill la Kill. Yes. What's her name?
Oh, the guy who the Mendo. Yeah, okay, I know.
Yeah.
I know why that would stand out to you now.
Yeah.
Because he says it like 700 times.
No, man, that was me in college doing Kumdo.
The other Gurren Lagann.
The other
red one.
The red girl.
The
Scissors.
Red girl. Scissors.
That's the show.
Shadow the Hedgehog's human
Out
son.
the edge, yeah.
What were we talking about?
We're talking about
lemon biting.
I don't even remember.
Communism,
Something
based,
like
and bread pilled.
We were talking about how we are communists because we have seized the means of production for ourselves. I
True.
have Sony Vegas. I have Photoshop. I actually have all the Adobes.
But
I have the whole suite.
Bummer though. Google takes, like, I make money off YouTube. Google takes a cut. I make money on Twitch. Bezos takes a cut.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to a certain extent,
we are slaves. But
we're basically just renters.
We all make most of our money on Patreon, though. And
they
Patreon
take
takes a cut, but Patreon is not a gigantic evil corporation. They are an evil corporation, but they're a small evil corporation.
They're not the worst.
They have aspirations.
And we've had enough of an eye on them. Like, I feel like I know exactly how bad they are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any illusions about them. Like, I don't have any conspiracies that they are worse than I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly how bad Patreon is. Its problems come entirely from just being a fucking SoCal shit
tech startup,
millennial,
whatever.
Goddamn garbage, bearded
beanbag sitting fuckers.
Fucking
Pretty much.
Sure.
What are you gonna do?
Hey guys, Taryn from Patreon here.
What's the Jack
Conti?
Is it Conti from Patreon? Who's the one from Twitter? Dorsey?
Jack Dorsey.
Yeah.
Dorsey and Conti. They sure are dorky and cunty.
Nice. I like it.
Good. Put some thought into that
Pretty
one.
proud of that.
There you go. Podcast title confirmed.
Build our own YouTube. Build our own Twitch.
Get demonetized.
Build our own Patreon.
I get demonetized
Nobody gets a cut.
The only thing I ever get demonetized for is putting swear words in the titles of my videos, and I will not stop.
I got all my like streams that I was doing on YouTube when I couldn't log into my Twitch account. They all got demonetized. I don't know why. Maybe I said fuck in the title. I can't remember.
Where did I put my logo?
Why is the internet for babies now?
I don't know. It's Kappa or the
Pipa.
Which one's the one that said like
Sopa and Pipa.
No,
and Copa.
it was Kappa was the one that was like you have to mark whether it's child friendly, right?
It's Copa to Pipa. No, Copa no Pipa to Sopa, Copa to Pipa no Sopa. Copa no Pipa to Sopa.
I don't know if it has anything to do with...
There was a Copa and a Pipa, right?
Yeah, and a Sopa.
Yeah.
Was there a Pipa?
There
PIP?
was.
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, Copa no Pipa to Sopa.
I don't know if it's anything to do with Copa to
That's what I'm
Pipa no
titling this
Sopa
video.
Desca.
Copa to Pipa no Sopa.
I can't wait for everyone to have no fucking idea what that is.
Copa no Pipa to Sosa.
Sopa.
Oh, dear.
Copa no Pipa to Sosa. Sopa. God damn it!
I don't know if that's why, but at the beginning of this year, like starting January 1st, my views stayed pretty consistent, but my like ad revenue per view just like dropped by like a third, and and it just has stayed that way. I don't know. Did that happen to other people?
Content had a really high ad value. Because we have multiple ad breaks and the videos are long as fuck.
Yeah.
And it just seems like people tend to watch them all the way through, so they get really good ad value. But
that's pretty good.
I mean, there hasn't been a ton of views or anything like that, so we've only made like $100.
That's I mean that's the Chris Chan lecture. Just, I mean, less now since the ad revenue dropped for reasons I don't understand, but like, you know, the whole time it's been up there, the Chris Chan lecture has just been because it's a long video.
How much money have you made off of the Chris Chan lecture?
Probably like a couple thousand.
Yeah, I was gonna say it had to be at least.
I mean, it's been up there for like 2 years, just accruing views.
Dude, lately I've been really thinking about like.
At least 1,000.
The biggest thing that is missing from our careers is specifically
solidarity.
Not just money, but what you are getting from that video. What is the word I'm looking for?
What?
Residuals.
Oh, yeah.
Residuals, because ordinarily...
No, that's the residuals on the Chris Chan lecture are amazing. I mean, it's not an amazing amount, but like to get like a little bit every month is really
right.
It's great.
I don't think people really understand that like successful videos on YouTube tend to remain successful. Like all the ones that I have that are over 1 million. I only had like one video ever that actually just went to 1 million, and that was the Dear Crunchyroll Stop video. Every other one was like a long build up over years of just continual growth, because ones like that fucking Big Anime Face video never is like almost every month it's my most popular video. Like
Big Anime Face?
The one How to Recognize a Terrible Anime in Just One Episode.
The Pepsi?
The big blue face.
Pepsi girl?
No, the other blue face. The one from Gate.
I was just like the
remember
cute
Gate?
little girl with the blue hair. It's like
the
big
blue
eyes,
hair,
like,
big eyes. Yeah, looking up. Yeah, you know,
I'm pretty sure I've seen the video.
It's always someone that it gets recommended to people, you know. But like it's continually been like the most views on my channel ever since it came out, practically. But like it's funny because the patrons are very much tend to be like you know, I paid for whatever came out this month, and I will pay for whatever came out next month. But I think there are some people who have the mindset of like, I'll keep paying because like, you know, the things you did were worth like enough that I still care about it. You know what I mean?
Are you wearing my socks?
No. Why would I be wearing your socks?
I was wearing those exact socks.
They're Hanes socks. They're like the most.
No, they're not. They're Hanes X Temp socks.
Yeah, exactly. All the socks I own are Hanes X Temp socks.
Well, I think I might have stolen a pair of yours then, because today I was wearing those socks.
I mean, I own several packs of these socks.
I think I might have just
cheap socks.
Accidentally taken some. That must be where those came from.
Yeah,
okay.
I guess so.
Mystery solved. Anyway, residuals.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, when like an author writes a book that gets popular, they keep making money off of it for long enough for them to write their next book.
That's what
I feel like with Patreon, with YouTube, you do have the residual value of the videos, but with Patreon, it's basically it comes out, it gets paid for, it's done. And even if that video were to get a second wind of like new people watching it, they wouldn't necessarily translate to those people like patroning, you know?
Yeah. They're finding it after the fact.
Right. Which would be residuals in another market, but
that's
ours is complicated.
Brian Lee O'Malley said that, like, I think he was talking about residuals. He said, like, once he got like 2 books out, he was like, okay, now I'm comfortable. Right. Now I can just focus on making these things and getting the series done.
That's amazingly fast.
I mean, his
fucking books.
Yeah, well, his fucking Scott Pilgrim went like crazy popular, in a way that comics never do. Yeah. So that's an outlier. But like once he had it wasn't until he had a couple books out that he was getting residuals from that he was like, okay, I'm fine. I made it.
It's just, it would be... I realized that that's what allows, like, you know, like, artists, like, musicians and stuff, used to be more so that they would have like a 3-year album cycle, especially rock musicians, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they put out an album, they tour for about a year, and then they just kind of disappear for a couple years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know if it's that it necessarily takes that long to write an album so much as that they just, you know, continually write until they have a great album, and then they go, okay, now we can go make an album. Or they wait until they are running out of money and they go, fuck, we need to make an album so we can have a reason to tour again, you know? But, like, whatever the case may be, it's the fact that the album continues selling. They continue to profit off of that, you know, until the sales slump and they need to make another thing. But, like, for us internet creators, it's like the second our thing comes out is the only moment it has value, right. You know? And then, at least in our minds, we just move on. We're like, well, that came out. That's the effect it had.
That's what the environment kind of rewards, is, like, continuing to churn out more stuff. But also, like, that's, like, the downside of kind of, like, the free access you were talking about earlier, is that you don't have something that's continually generating sales. Right. It's all available for free, so you kind of have to, like, rely on goodwill.
Well, there's ways I've found to re-promote your content, such as re-editing it into a new video and just releasing it again, you know? Yeah. Which has worked out extremely well. Like, when I did the Psychopath series, the 5-part Psychopath series, once I collected it into one video, you know, years later, and did, like, some light re-editing to, like, fix... I didn't like the way the audio sounded, so I went back and, like, recut the audio to lengthen out segments and stuff. Mm-hmm. But, like, it was a 2.5-hour version of the video, and where, just because it had a much better thumbnail and title and wasn't 5 sporadic videos, like, the collected version had more views than all of the other ones combined, you know, like, within about a year. And it's just, like... Maybe don't give up on the old things you've made. Like, think about what you can do with the repackaging, repurposing.
I mean,
finding another way to.
I guess you could say that's what I have done with Vapors Chapter 1 and 2. Like, I made it and I put it on the internet, and then I was like, well, these are out, but they're not physical, so let's kickstart the physical printing.
I mean, my mentality with Kusomega, the reason I decided to make a physical version was, like, I wrote it and out of nowhere, put it out, was very happy with it, saw people reacting to it well, and was like, well, I didn't make any money off of that. Like, however proud I am, however excited people might be, this thing got, you know, demonetized immediately, and it's not really what my patrons are necessarily paying for, I guess. It is, but it's not. Some of them don't care, some of them haven't read it, you know. But if it has a physical version, then there is a means by which it can actually make money.
And now I know why Adobe wants money.
People love their physical media. They want to keep
making money off of their Photoshop product that they made last year.
Yes, I mean, I think it's fair in their case, and I think they're making enough money. Like, obviously, that's why it seems like none of these companies have really done anything. Like, obviously, they know that we're all pirating their shit, but, like, you know, if anything, it probably leads to more people eventually buying it, like you said, you know.
Sure.
Who never would have in the first place. Well, we are sitting around here. It is like 4:20, about to be 4:20, so I should probably load up.
Where the fuck is Nate?
I just checked Discord. Nate says that he stopped at the airport to pick his bags up, and he will be here around 4:30.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
He had to get his bags from the flight, I guess.
Yeah, they shipped the bags, but not him.
They probably went all the way to the final destination.
That
is stupid.
Did we mention that he missed his flight?
We haven't mentioned anything.
No.
Okay.
This is not even Radcon.
We have explained nothing about what's happening here.
Oh, well, he had to drive from DC. Yeah. So we don't know the whole story.
You two both flew in from Boston. Were you on the same plane together? Or?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. We had the exact same itinerary.
So you guys flew in, and then at like 11:45, you got in. Nate and Michelle were supposed to show up like
about the same time.
Then we get a text that's like, oh, we missed it just said like missed the flight.
Don't worry about it now.
Don't worry about it, or something.
We'll be there later.
And we
whatever
were like,
that means.
What the fuck? What, like, that's so insanely vague. And then, like, an hour later or so, we find out that they are driving, that their flight had a connecting in D.C. and to something that Nate simply described as a comedy of errors.
Whatever that means.
He ended up driving a rental car from D.C., and now I guess they're at the airport getting their stuff before they come here. So we got, like, 15 minutes before Nate shows up. You guys have any parting thoughts? I'm going to try to get this podcast up before Nate gets here.
Fuck yeah.
It's exactly 4:20, so I'm going to take a big bongoo.
Seize the means of production. Democracy in the workplace is just as important as it is in governance. You spend most of your waking life as an adult at work. Why should it be governed by petty tyrants and not controlled by the workers and those who actually must suffer its consequences? Damn!
What do you think of my sploof, Ben?
What?
What do you think of my sploof?
The fuck does that mean? I will say...
It prevents the weed smell.
What is a sploof?
It's that thing right there, the fucking toilet paper roll.
It's my homemade sploof.
Yeah.
It's a...
You exhale through it?
It's a toilet paper roll, and inside is a paper towel, and rubber banded to the top is a dryer sheet. So when you exhale, it takes on the smell of the dryer sheet over the smell of the weed.
Yep.
Nifty.
Do you smell the dryer sheet smell? Did it?
I mean, maybe a little.
Because I breathed it right on you to see.
It's pretty.
I smelled.
Pretty subtle.
Yeah, I think I did smell it a little bit, but it wasn't overpowering.
Well,
it wasn't very weedy.
That was a delightful 420 that somehow lasted 2 minutes.
I will say that watching that bong, watching the cloud
it's so
roll.
Awesome,
it
right?
looks pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. You should do a hit out of it.
Maybe later.
maybe off the air. All right, that's it, everybody.